Barakatay Hawa, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachakudash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Revelation 20, the 1,000 Years and the Nations. And I just want to say a couple of words on this. This is something we went over yesterday. And, we've done many videos on Revelation 20. And that's one of those. It's easy if you understand the history, but it's difficult if you don't. And the thing about it is it jumps around, so it's one of those chapters that's not easy to break down unless you have the understanding of the history, and overall the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai is working with you. But before we get into that, I just uploaded this video to my channel from the brothers up in Buffalo, Zion, which is the head of the camp. And it's an update from Buffalo, Niagara Falls. We are safe, Akim, Barakatay Yahweh Shem Shai for that. Because they got hit pretty hard up there. And the brother said they didn't go out because it was too cold. And that was a good call. That was a good call on the behalf of the leaders of, the GMS Buffalo, Niagara camp. I forget, they have to keep changing their names because YouTube keeps clipping their channels. So, beautiful thing for those brothers to be safe and to call it. We didn't go out this week because of the same reasons, and next week is just, crazy, going to be crazy. So, depending on what the Spirit does, Elder Pastor mentioned that, we weren't going out, but you never know how the Spirit has a role. So we'll see what the Spirit has by the end of the week, Lord's will. So, with that being said, dealing with Revelation, the 20th chapter, this is one of those chapters that's difficult to break down. Reason being is you have to know history, and you also have to be inspired by Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai through the Holy Spirit, the Rachakudash, because this is one of those chapters that jumps around, and if you don't understand it, you're going to think that the 1,000-year period, when you read through it, is all talking about the same time period, that same time frame, the same 1,000 years. And it's not. It's talking about two separate 1,000-year periods. And that's something that has to be known before you could actually break this down. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on the first 1,000-year part because, we've gone over this so much that brothers out there should already know the breakdown of this, and if you haven't, I'm pretty sure you keep watching videos, you're going to run over a plethora of videos, because this is something that we speak on constantly, dealing with the Renaissance period. That's the first part of this is dealing with that 1,000-year, from the time when Jake took over the ancient Roman Empire, when they took over and it became, the Roman Empire under Jake, and then eventually the Holy Roman Empire through the Dark Ages until the Renaissance period. That was that 1,000-year period. And when you jump down to about the 7th verse, that is where this picks back up at. And if you don't know that, you're going to read through here and read this 1,000 years and then continue reading on and think it's all talking about the same period of time, and it's not. So, Revelation 20, and we're going to jump around just a little bit in here, just so you could see how it all connects together, through the Spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, Lord's will, it'll be an edifying lesson. Revelation 21, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. The key pretty much represents, to be able to put someone into captivity or put a seal upon them, so that they won't be able to move or be able to do anything, because they would be under quote unquote curses. Like right now there's a key or a seal upon us as Israelites with the curses. No matter what we do, we could only get but so far, and that's pretty much the seal. It says at the bottomless pit. Now the pit is a representation of lands. You could have a pit as far as a pit in the ground, or a trap or a snare, and also the lands of the earth are also classified as pits. The reason why it's known as a bottomless pit is because Europe is known for its lack of mineral resources. This is why dealing with spices and certain foods and things of that nature, they have to always import stuff from other countries, especially Pakistan, India, places like that that are rich, in their soil is rich to be able to cultivate or grow, vegetation that they would not be able to do so here in Europe. It says, and a great chain in his hand. The great chain also represents captivity. And this chain is really a representation of Jake, the Israelites, when the Israelites took over. And if you understand the history of Rome, you know that scripturally you had 12 Caesars, those 12 Caesars beginning with Julius, which is where the Caesars got their name from. Then you had Augustus, so on and so forth, and ending with Domitian, which was the last ruler of the Edomites of that Flavian dynasty, which was three, Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. That was the father and son triumvirate, that ruled from roughly around 69 AD to about 96 AD. And that's when their thing came to an end. Once that stopped, Nerva came in, and that's when Jake took over. This is when, they started they pretty much were taken down, but Jake still kept on the ancient Roman pagan ways until around roughly 325 AD, when Constantine brought or made Christianity the religion of the Roman Empire, which pretty much he was nothing more than a sun worshiper, but what he did was, through a master stroke, he was able to get the Christians and the pagans all wrapped up and involved into that, Christianity. He found a way to get everybody involved, There's a whole history on that. Elder Bishop Tazadakba is the expert on that. If he happens to run across this video and he, wants to do some lessons on that, if the spirit is on him, so be it. All right. And from that point on, it became known as the so-called Holy Roman Empire, even though it still had, it's that BS Christianity, but that's when Christianity really took hold, and then eventually, the Western Roman Empire fell. They say 476, 500 AD, around there, and for that period of time, that's when Jake was ruling. Jake was ruling, like I said, before that, but from that point, that whole time frame from that Jake was ruling, Esau was there was a seal put upon him where he couldn't move, he couldn't come or go. It says, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan. And these are all names or titles for the devil, the Edomites, the so-called white people, so you could understand the wicked. It's not talking. These are, even though you do have a spiritual demon named Satan, which is the devil, but these names here are applied to the people, which are the children, the sons and the daughters of Satan. All right. And then it says, and bound him 1,000 years. So this 1,000 years was that period from the fall of the Roman Empire until the revival of them through what was called the Renaissance period. All right. And cast them into the bottomless pit. This is where they were, because at that time they were pretty much like prisoners. They were not like, they were prisoners. They couldn't go, they couldn't move, they couldn't deceive people. They couldn't rob because they were already identified. They were being, punished by Jake and shut him up and set a seal upon him, right, so that they couldn't do anything, that he should deceive the nations no more, because this is all the devil does. All these Edomites do is deceive people. Even during the time of the Greek Empire, they put themselves up in our books, because remember, they desecrated the temple, they burnt the books, they painted their likeness, as the likeness of the Israelites, the Most High, so on and so forth. Because remember, they are the abomination that maketh desolate. It says, till 1,000 years should be fulfilled, meaning that first period of the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And once that time period was fulfilled, when the Renaissance period came in, that's when Jake started falling, Esau started coming up, And the very first thing that he did was to deceive the world. It says, and after that, he must be loosed a little season. So from the time that the Renaissance period started, some dated to about 1325, 1350, around that time period, till now, that was that short season. Now, dealing with this 1,000-year period, in order to really fully understand that, we would have to jump to the 7th verse, where it says Satan freed, or Esau freed, doomed. And when the 1,000 years are expired, the first 1,000 years, it says Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. So that's what they were done. That seal and Jake having authority over them to keep them in line, so to speak, now was gone, because they revolted. They started taking down strongholds, and they put themselves up in a position of rulership because it was their time to rule. And they went around deceiving the world by painting themselves as the Most High, as Yahushai, as the angels, as the Israelites, to the point that after a period of time, people just started accepting it. As to at the beginning, they were fighting against it, but after a while, they just kept going, because this is what Esau does. He wears down his opponents, and that's what they do. This is why them little hats, they keep saying stuff and they keep saying stuff. And you would think after a while they would get frustrated from doing these things because it's not working, but really subconsciously it's working on the majority of the people. So that's why they keep saying and keep saying and keep saying. And eventually they get the desired effect, because they wear the people down. And that's what the devil does. And those mother effers, that is the chief house of Satan. They're going to be the top of the list of the Edomites that's going to be getting busted up for that whole 1,000-year period. All right, because those I want to really just they're like the cold weather out there. They make you want to cuss. They make you want to get nasty. It says, and when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall what? Go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. So this 1,000-year period was up, during the time of the Renaissance. This goes into what happened during the time of the Renaissance unto this very day, right? Then it goes on and it speaks about the judgment that's going to be brought upon them, the destruction that's going to be brought upon them through the missiles, through the lasers from the chariots, and how they're going to be judged. All right. And that's what this goes into. Then after they were loosed, came back into power, did they dirt, were revealed through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai by the prophets, were given the sentence, were judged, and the world was turned over to Yahushai and the Israelites. Now we go to the 4th verse, which takes place in the beginning of the kingdom after the 1,000-year period is expired, when they were destroyed. See, so now we're in a period of the 1,000-year period that Jake ruled was over. And we're in that little season where Esau was ruling and deceived the world. And this is why in Revelation 3 it says that the whole world wondered after the beast, because they had the deceptive power to captivate people's minds, which we were all in that spell until the Lord gave us the ability to break free from that spell. All right. So now when he's judged, the kingdom is next. And that's when we deal with this here, Revelation 20, verse 4. And I saw thrones. Now, these thrones are the thrones of the nation of Israel. Now, once again, if you're not careful, you're going to get that mistaken with Daniel 7 and 9. Because Daniel 7 and 9 says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down. These thrones that were cast down were the thrones of the heathens. These thrones in Revelation 24 are talking about the thrones of the judges of Israel, sitting up on the throne, judging the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And it's very easy to get it mixed up. Even within the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter, you have the little horn. It speaks about the little horn, which Lord's will, we'll get to that. When you go to Daniel, the 8th chapter, it also speaks about a little horn. But those are two different things. The one in Daniel is a representation of a nation, a country, a nation. The one in Daniel, the 8th chapter, is an individual person. You see? So there's a lot to know in order to be able to get the mystery right. So going back to Revelation 24, and I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. Right. So these thrones are talking about the Israelites. Now let's go to a couple of precepts on that. Let's go first and foremost to the book of Luke, because we're going to go back to Daniel 7, Lord's will. Let's go to Luke 22. And we're going to start at 27, just get to the point. It says, for whether is greater, he that sitteth at meat, or he that serveth? Is not he that sitteth at meat, but I am among you as he that serveth. Right, so Yahushua was giving them the blueprint of how to be humble, even being in a leadership position. It says, ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations. This is why Yahushua said, because you have kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. Yeah, I'm going to have to take that out, brother. Brother put Amalek means the people that exhaust or consumes. And if that's the case, like I said, I got to check it out. But if that's the case, that fits those bastards to a T. And that's very interesting if that's exactly what it means. Like I said, I'm not saying the brother's lying. I just have to verify it for myself. And this is something in rotation in my prayers. It's been that way for a while. I malachium. We say, we put curses on Esau, on the heathen, on our enemies, and I malachium, which are the Amalekites. All right, I malach, dwelling in the valley. Yeah, so I don't know if the brother was just saying that, just as a means of, just giving them like a, identifying them, but it just says here, dweller in the valley. I will have to look into it further. All right, so going back here, ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations, and I appoint unto you what? A kingdom, as my Father hath appointed unto me. So we're going to get the same thing Yahushua gets. Revelation 2 tells us that if we overcome, he's going to give us power over the nations, and we're going to be able to rock them over the head with a scepter. Right? As my Father hath appointed unto me, because we're what? Joint heirs with Yahushua, that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom. That's right, because it is Yahushua's kingdom. We just happen to be joint heirs with him, because he's sharing the kingdom with us. And what? Sit on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. So the thrones in Revelation 20 and 4 is talking about the thrones of the Israelites, of the government of Israel, the Mashirah Yasha'Allah, as Elder Barak likes to say, which I got to watch a video Elder Pastor just said. I was just shaking my head just from the title, but Lord, oh Lord. All right, so the next one we got is 1 Corinthians 6. Then I hit one more just so do it in a succession of 3. 1 Corinthians 6 and 2. Do ye not know? Matter of fact, I started 1. Dare any of you having a matter against another go to law before the unjust, meaning before Esau, and not before the saints? Who are the saints? The Israelites. It says, do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? So judges do what? They sit on thrones, because the judges that we're going to be are what? Kings sitting on thrones, right? It says, yep, this is a good one right here. The brother put up Psalms 122 and 5. For there are set thrones of judgment, the thrones of the house of David. That's right. So do you not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, Are you unworthy to judge the smallest matters? Yeah. So the world is going to be judged by us. All right. So one last one we're going to give you is in the book of, matter of fact, I'll just go back here because I have Daniel 7 pulled up. 7 and 22. It says, I started 21. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, that's dealing with America, and prevailed against them. Right, because it was the time for us to go down. This is why the Lord stripped us of our power. And as the prophecy that Yahushua gave upon Esau, when he blessed him with the sword, and he will have the fatness of the earth, he had these devils invent what was known as a Gatling gun, because Gad and Reuben and them, they were too much for him to handle. He couldn't deal with them. You know, I've heard, I'm not sure if that was High Priest Ariah, but I've heard it from One West. There was some book in the history where Esau would be shooting at Gad, and Gad would be dodging the bullets and keep running, and they keep shooting at him, and they keep dodging the bullets, so they come up on him and kill his ass. So they had to invent the Gatling gun in order to shoot so many shots that you couldn't dodge. And that's what the Lord did that. Why? Because he had to prevail. So the Lord had to give him an advantage to prevail over us. And that was the advantage that was given them, was the blessing that was given to them by Yahushua himself as Isaac, which was the sword. So it says, until the Ancient of Days came, which is the Most High, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. And the Lord said he's going to make us a kingdom of kings and priests. So the thrones in Revelation 20 and 4 is talking about the Israelites sitting and judging. And there's more scriptures that was just a handful. And I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua. You can go to Revelation 6, and it speaks about this, that those that are praying to the Lord, are they gonna, when are you gonna avenge us? And the Lord said to be patient until the same thing that they went through was fulfilled upon their brethren that were on the earth. It says, like the brother said, they also used Judah, the buffalo soldiers, and that was Israelite on Israelite crime. And for the word of the Most High, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither have received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Yahushua 1,000 years. You see? So this 1,000 years is talking about after the first period of 1,000 years. And the 1,000 years from 1 to 3, and then 7 and 8, or verses 7 and 8, is dealing with from the time Esau fell to the Renaissance. This 1,000-year period is after Esau falls, when the kingdom is established. All right? Then it goes on to say, then if you jump from there, this 1,000 years, right to the end of the 5th verse, this is the first resurrection. And the first resurrection is a representation of the first rulership in the kingdom of heaven. Let's go to Micah. I believe that's chapter 3. And verse 8. Nope, that's not it. Or is it the 4th chapter? Maybe it's the 4th chapter and the 8th verse. Con. It says, and thou, O tower of the flock. Who is the tower of the flock? The prophets. The leaders, the teachers of Israel. The truth leaders. The stronghold of the daughter of Zion. Yeah, because that's going to be the governing body in the kingdom of heaven. Unto thee shall it come, even the first dominion, because they're going to receive the first dominion in the kingdom, which is the first resurrection. Now, why is it being called the resurrection? Because we were the dry bones in the valleys that came back to life. And now in the kingdom of heaven, we're back resurrected to where we're supposed to be. not what we were brought down to because of our disobedience, but where we were resurrected back from that dead state to where we're supposed to be as the kings of the planet, the princes of the planet, the rulers, royalty, getting back to that, you see? So it says, even the first dominion, the kingdom shall come to the daughter of Jerusalem. So here in Revelation 20, this 1,000 years is talking about from the time Esau and the nations are destroyed and the kingdom established. That's the first resurrection. Then it says, but the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished, meaning this 1,000 years, the 1,000 years reigning in the kingdom of heaven. Now, we're going to reign with the Lord forever because the scriptures speak about having everlasting life. These incorruptible bodies being changed. These corruptible bodies being changed for the incorruptible ones. You know, so we're going to live forever. But this is a time frame spoken of in the scriptures for the first part, you know, that's going to cement and reestablish the true judgment and righteousness on the planet Earth, how it's supposed to be. And that would be the model, you know, and that would be the model for all time. Never again will a nation ever come back into power to do anything. It's going to be set in stone forever, world without end. All right. So it goes on to say, blessed and holy is he that hath part what? In the first resurrection, which is that 1,000-year reign after the destruction of these heathen nations. On such the second death has no power, which are the nuclear missiles, the lake of fire. That's what the second death is. The first death being the flood. It says, but they shall be priests of the Most High and of Yahushua, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. So these three verses here all go together. The beginning of the 5th verse is the part right after that 1,000-year period, dealing with the nations being reestablished, because they're going to get their lands back in the kingdom of heaven, even during that 1,000-year period. But once the 1,000 years is up, then they're going to be able to move a little freer, so to speak, because by that point, they're going to be well acquainted with the law, statutes, and commandments, because we're going to be teaching them how to keep it. You see? That's why we're going to be a nation of kings and priests. We're not going to teach each other because we're going to be perfect. So who are we going to teach? The other nations. What are we going to teach them? The laws, the statutes, the commandments. Right? So let's go from there. Because before this can happen, these devils have to go down. And this is why it says that after that 1,000-year period that Esau was in captivity for lack of better words, they will come back into power. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, because that was a prison sentence, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. And that's what they did during the Renaissance, the iconoclasm and all of that. Gog and Magog, which is Russia. Gog is Russia, Magog is the land. To gather them together to battle, because the battle is what the scriptures call Armageddon, or the Valley of Jehoshaphat. The number of whom is as the sand of the sea, which is the same thing as saying Armageddon. Armageddon, Harmageddon. Har is mount. Gad is troop, and the one at the end makes it plural, mountain of the troops, because all of these armies coming together is like a massive mountain. So that's the mountain of the troops, the innumerable amount of soldiers that are going to be fighting from all these different nations coming together. It says, and they went up upon the breadth of the earth, which is the land of Israel, and compassed the camp of the saints, the camp being the land of the saints about, and the beloved city, which is Jerusalem, because the Russians are going to destroy that place, that land, because the Lord is going to be magnified and sanctified in them, because he's going to totally destroy that land to reestablish it again and re-clean it, because that place is filthy. So the only way to clean it is by this fire that's coming, which is the judgment of the Lord. It says, and fire came down from the Most High out of heaven and devoured them, right? And this is what's going to begin the establishment of the kingdom of heaven, or the beginning of the 1,000-year reign with Yahushai. Now when we go to Daniel 7 and 9, it says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. The thrones being the thrones of the heathen being cast down, because once the thrones of the heathen are cast down, right, then comes the next phase, which is the next 1,000 years in the kingdom of heaven. Revelation 11:15, and the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world, these heathens, are become the kingdoms of our Lord, Yahushai, the Yahweh, and of his anointed Yahushai, and he shall reign forever and ever. See, so it's going to be an everlasting kingdom. There's not going to be any, a nation coming back into power and taking over, and then, taking out the Lord and all that, and then having to go through that whole process again of getting back to the kingdom. No. It's going to be an everlasting kingdom. Now, there was another precept that came to mind. Wish I would have grabbed it real quick. But you get the point. If it comes back, then I'll grab it. Grab it, Babbitt. I beheld to the throne. Inside joke. I beheld to the thrones were cast down, which are the Barakateh, how about Shemal Shai? Luke 21 and 24. It says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, meaning the Israelites, during 70 AD, and shall be led away captive into all nations. That was the final devastation of Israel, to be scattered among the nations. And Jerusalem, which is the land, shall be trodden down to the Gentiles, the actual nations, until the time that the Gentiles be fulfilled, meaning until their time is up. Once their time is up, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, the thrones of the heathens, beginning with Esau. You see? And this is why the nations are going to be going back to their lands. Because the main bone that the Most High Yahushua got to pick is with Esau. That's why Yahushua is coming back to who? Visit Esau, the Edomites. He's going to get the other nations too, but the main bone right now is with Esau, because Esau is in power. Esau is in authority, because he set him up. He set him up, he knocked him down too. And the Ancient of Days did sit, the Most High, Yahweh, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like a fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. That represents the chariot. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him, which is laser. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, which are the angels. The judgment was set, and the books were open. So we're reading here pretty much what it states here in Revelation, the 20th chapter. It's pretty much the same story, so to speak, or the same history, or the same prophecy, just told different ways. It says, I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. Now this horn, which is a little horn that came out of the 10, is a representation of America. Now the horn in Daniel the 8th chapter, see, this is dealing with a country. The horn in Daniel 8 is dealing with a person. You see? This has yet to be fulfilled. The one in Daniel 8 has already been fulfilled. I beheld them because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, which is America. I beheld even till the beast was slain, which is America, the EU, NATO. They're going to be brought down. They're going to be totally annihilated. In other words, their whole power structure is going to go down once America goes down. And we don't know exactly what places on the planet are going to get hit, but some of them are going to get hit with these missiles. But we definitely know that 100% of America is out. 100% of the land of Israel is out. All right. It says, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. Right. Because that's going to be what brings Esau down. That's what's gonna bring Babylon the Great down. This great fire. And that destruction is also going to bring down all of the power structures of the earth down. All of the different kings today, which are the leaders of the world leaders, that's what's going to bring them all down at that particular time in the fight. Inside joke. It says, as concerning the rest of the beasts, now we're dealing with what? The other nations. They had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. Because they will still be ruling. Because Esau, after that 1,000-year period, he's going to be rounded up and burnt. You know? And the nations are still going to be there. And they're going to they're going to have their lands, but they're going to get a little more freedom, so to speak. Because by that time, they're already going to know they're going to be in order. Because they already know what the deal is if they get out of order. Because they're going to have all those lumps upside their head to remind them. Remember how you got that big ass lump on the side of your head? Remember how you got that scar on your face? Remember how, see that left ear that's missing? Remember what happened that day, right? You know, remember when that fiery axe was coming by and chopped half of your nose off? You know, for acting such and such a way? So they're gonna get some act right. All right? And Esau is gonna be gone. That goddamn devil. All right, so let's go from there to Isaiah. I mean, I'm being a little dramatic with it, but that's exactly what's going to go down, and not exactly in that way, but in other words, they're going to be made to understand. You understand? Isaiah 14:12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? This is when Esau comes down. Because right now, their kingdom has been numbered, has been weighed, and they've been found wanting, as it says in Daniel 5, which is really dealing with the ancient Babylonian Empire. But we apply that today because the handwriting is on the wall, you know, and they're being made manifest right now. So when we're about to be delivered from this place, Isaiah 14:4, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how have the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased? Because there's a message that the Lord is going to be giving these devils. And that message is what? That you're going down. It says, the Lord has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. Right. So that staff and that scepter has been severed. The power has been severed. But they're still in that rulership position. Because the Lord is systematically breaking them down. You know, he's giving them a boxing lesson, as the Elder Pastor says, when you have individuals that are boxing and the guy is picking the guy apart. He's plucking him apart like a wet chicken, you know. So the Lord's giving them a lesson and just systematically chopping them down, right? It says, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindereth. Right? So now is your time to go down. So as we jump down to the 12th verse, this is when he's taken out completely. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Lucifer goes back to the Hebrew Hayalal and the Greek Iosforos. And they both mean light bearer, light carrier. Another name you could use in today's term, you go back to the 1500s, alumbrados, which is synonymous with Illuminati, which are light bearers, light carriers, because they are the ones in power right now. But the candle of the wicked shall be put out, because they were given a period of time to rule. Now that it's time for them to go down. It says, son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground? Right, because you were in a lofty position, and now you're being cut down to the ground, which did is weaken the nations, and that's exactly what they did. I believe that's Luke. Yep, Luke 10:18. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. This is Yahushua speaking, saying he beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. The adversary, the Edomites, falling from that lofty position, from that rulership position. And where they're going to go? Right into captivity. Because at this point, when the destruction is happening, And, I'm pretty sure a little prior before that, they're going to be running to their bomb shelters, which I wouldn't be surprised if they're already there. They're going to be running to their bomb shelters. They're going to be hoping at the bomb shelter, hiding from the Most High and from the wrath of the Lamb, And that's going to be that when they go in there and the destruction comes, that's going to be the end of their kingdom, the end of their system. Then, we're going to go around, the Lord's will, the ones of us that make it, and we're going to kick in the door and waving the law, okay? And say, come on, devil, let's go. And that's going to be the beginning of their misery. That's when reality is going to hit them in the face that it's over. It's over, B. It's over. That's when they're going to be like, that's it. There's nothing else they can do. They're going to be tattered. They're going to be torn. They're going to be beaten. It's going to get crazy. Let's see. Salaki, I haven't really been paying attention to the comment board. I guess somebody put a comment or something. Wow. Damn, brothers are lighting this comment board up. All right. I don't know what that's all about. But anyways, getting back to Isaiah 14. It says, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, which they have done that. I will exalt my thrones above the stars of the Most High, which they did. You got your satellites, you have your space stations, your space shuttles. You have your planes, your helicopters. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation, which are the Israelites, in the sides of the North America, because this goes hand in hand with Revelation 17, how it said that the woman was drunk with the blood of the saints. And there's other verses in Revelation that go hand in hand with that. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, which their planes. I will be like the Most High. And this is why they're saying that, because the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, and they're all over the earth, beholding everything. So what do they have? They have these satellites, the term Big Brother. They have the satellites. They have, your smartphones, your smart TVs, your Alexas, all of the different equipment that they have that is all set up to spy on the people, because they want to be able to see everything, and they want a piece of everything. They don't want anything left out. They want the minutest crumb, from the biggest chunk to the littlest crumb. They want it all. Salaki for a minute. All right, so that's how they're trying to be like the Most High, so they can have their eyes everywhere. It says, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit, meaning you're going to be brought down to a low condition, and that low condition is going to be slavery. They whose judgment was not to drink of a cup have surely drunk of it, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee. Yeah, because the world at one time was giving you this great admiration, like that stupid bitch that got on her knees and crawled over to that bastard, that goddamn devil that called himself a king, but she's nothing but a goddamn pauper. And she crawled on her goddamn knees to this devil, But the world is going to come to the realization that you're nothing but a base man, You're nothing but the devil that the Bible speaks of. You're nothing but a conniving, deceiving, cheating, stealing, robbing, murdering. The list goes on and on and on. And that's why they're going to be narrowly looking upon you. When you narrowly look upon someone, you're gonna go from a perspective of looking at someone in awe and admiration to looking at somebody like, what? I can't believe that I believed in you. I can't believe this shit. You mother, It says, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble? This devil, this nobody that did shake kingdoms, because they've fucking destroyed the whole planet. They've destroyed the people of the planet, but now they want to have Arbor Day. They want to have, make sure you recycle. Here it is. Yeah, we know we fucked the earth up, but you got to clean it up. Leaving the cleaning up to the people when they're the ones that fucked the whole planet up. The audacity of these that's why the Lord said he's going to destroy them that destroyed the earth. It says that made the world as a wilderness, and that's exactly what they did, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of the prisoners. So can you imagine if you let this lunatic out of the cage again, what's going to happen? Once you contain this beast, can you imagine if that devil gets loose out of that cage? The havoc that he will wreak on the planet Earth? Come on, man. No, sir. No, sir. Beware of the beast, man. Alone in God, how does that go? Salaka. Oh, man. Damn, boy. Oh, Lord. I can't think of it, but beware of the beast, man. Oh, man, Cornelius. Come on, baby. And the one that said it name was Cornelius. No, that was the Dr. Zaius. But Cornelius was the one that read it. Let's see. Here we go. Beware of the beast, man, for he is the devil's pawn, alone among God's primates. Yeah, because they are the lowest of the low, primitive, but they got put in a position of power. That's what the Lord says, that he set up the basis of men. He kills for sport or lust or greed. Yea, he will murder his brother to possess his brother's land. Let him not breed in great numbers. Yeah, man, because you're gonna be taken down, and we're gonna read it some more in Isaiah 14. For he will make a desert of his home and yours. Shun him, drive him back until his jungle lair. For he is the harbinger of death. Hey, whoever wrote this, there was in the spirit. The Lord put the spirit on him to write this, because this is a perfect description of Esau and of the inhumanity that these devils would do, and the utter chaos that these devils create. And this is a perfect I wish this was in the scriptures, which it is, but not written in this way. You know what I mean? So it goes on to say, right, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house, right? Which goes back to Revelation chapter 20, dealing with the nations, but the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were fulfilled. It says, but thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, right? Because you will not ever be restored to power, because you're going to, all of you is going to be, this time, King David and Joab are going to get that wish. They tried to annihilate your monkey ass back then, that they're going to be able to do it this time. It says, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. You will never get back into a position of power ever again. So I don't know what Elder Lahab was talking about. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, because reincarnation is in the Bible, and you will pay, that they do not rise nor possess the land nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up again. Yeah, so you don't come back into power and start this whole shit all over again. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord. Notice it didn't mention daughters and wife and sisters and aunties, even though they're going to be wiped out, because what carries a nation are the men, the sons and the nephews and the uncles and the fathers. I will also make it a possession for the bittern, because America will be a place where desert creatures inhabit it and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, which are the missiles sweeping across this place, saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai of hosts. And this is why in this movie Planet of the Apes, it was known as the Forbidden Zone. You know, the desert, because this place will be forbidden. Nobody will ever be able to step foot here again. You know, to build or establish anything. It's a wrap for these devils. All right. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say shalom.